Who is the best Classic Tetris player in the world? That's the question the Classic Tetris World Championships will be attempting to answer this weekend. And figuring out who is most likely to win ahead of time nowadays is more difficult than ever. From 2010 to 2017, Jonas was of course the best player, with Harry as a close number 2. From 2018 to 2019, Joseph was the best, with Corian as a close number 2. From 2020 to 2022, overall Dog was the best, with the rest of the big six perpetually in the mix. But now in 2023, players have gotten too good with the new rolling playstyle and showed that they could play indefinitely past the maximum speed at level 29, so a new maximum speed has been added at level 39 called the Super Killscreen. This has completely shifted the meta at the top of the competition, as players must now go for Tetrises past level 29, and there have been many huge upsets against players that were formerly nearly unbeatable. So how do we sort everything out and see who still rises above the rest? Marfram and I have spent the bulk of the past year building up the CTM match database, which contains detailed statistics on thousands of Masters event matches, the tournament that most consistently hosts the top players in the world every month. And this allows us to take a look at which players have done the best specifically in events that use the level 39 Super Killscreen. When I did an analysis video last year, I ended up using a lot of stats that weren't all that relevant because advanced Tetris stats were kind of a brand new thing. But this year, I'm gonna cut through the noise and just focus on two stats that show the clearest picture. The first stat is fair median score, the median of all natural top-out games plus intentional top-outs above the median. In a nutshell, this shows you what score you would need to consistently get to beat any given player in competition. Why use median instead of average though? For a simple example, let's say you are facing an opponent in a 5-game set. The first game they score 0 points, and in the next 4 games they score 1 million points. The 0-point game drags their average down to 800,000, but in order to beat this player, you'd need to score 1 million points at least 3 times. So the middle score, aka the median, which is 1 million points, best represents the hypothetical opponent's true strength. And what about only including the intentional top-outs above the median? That's to fairly accommodate games where the player tops out intentionally after already winning. By having the cutoff be at the player's natural median, this fairly includes marathon victories where a player scored really high but still topped out of their own accord, and fairly excludes easy victories where the opponent topped out early and the game for the other player never really got going. This is the level of nuance in a stat I had wanted to do last year, I just didn't have top-out type tracked at the time. So fair median score is the flagship stat of the CTM database, and I think a really accurate representation of a player's overall scoring power. And finally, the second bonus stat is fair 29 percentage. This is the percentage of games where a player reaches level 29 and rolling is at the biggest advantage, discarding prior intentional top-outs. This is an important consistency benchmark because if a player tops out before level 29, this often gives their opponent an easy opportunity to pace themselves and comfortably chase down their score. And this is reflected in the data across all Masters event games in the Super Killscreen era. If a player reaches level 29, they win 53% of the time. If they don't reach level 29, they win just 10% of the time. So making it to level 29 is really important. Alright, so we've got our two stats, an overall power stat and an extra consistency stat. How does everyone rank? As it turns out, when I looked at fair median score among players confirmed to show up at CTWC this year, there are kind of 3 clumps of players at the peak, so it's the most natural way to group them. So first group at the top are the favorites, Alex T, Sinnev, and Dog. These players all have fair median scores of nearly 1.2 million and fair 29 percentages hovering around 90%. So freaking good. You might be thinking, oh wow, Alex T at the top again, Scout. That prediction didn't work out so well for you last year. And here's the thing, Alex T actually had great games all weekend. He crushed it in the qualifiers, even though all he needed was max outs, and he crushed it off stage as well. He just had 2 really bad games in the bracket to end his tournament run, and sometimes that just happens, you know? He ended up winning the Mega Masters event this year, which was the biggest level 39 Super Killscreen tournament, so I still consider him a dangerous player no matter what. And stats can never predict who's going to win with 100% confidence. They just show who's most likely to win. I mean, take for example Sinnev. She hasn't won a Masters event all year, but she consistently makes a deep run every single month, so I felt for the longest time she's due for a major tournament victory. And hey, why not have it be CTWC? I mean, that's exactly what happened to Dog in 2020. He couldn't win a Masters event all year, and then he won CTWC. So the second group here is the Contenders. Miles, Pixel, Andy, Huff, and SV are all players nipping at the heels of the favorites. All have fair median scores in the 1.1 million range, and fair 29 percentages in the high 70s or mid 80s. Miles is one of the most improved players over the past year. He's more than just a TikTok star. He's a legitimate contender to win it all. He's so freaking good now. SV is potentially going to be a gold bracket rookie this year. He was the runner-up in the European Championship this past year behind Sinnev, so I'm super excited to see him compete this year. And then finally rounding out the top 13 are the challengers. A bunch more players that all have fair median scores above above 1 million. They're probably not top picks for the title, but they're all more than capable of a deep tournament run. This group includes a bunch of exciting dark horses that have really risen up this year, like Doge, Noah, Danvi, and especially Rhubarb, who actually has a much higher fair 29 percentage than anyone else in this group. But it also includes Eric, and it's a fair question to say, hey, Scout, what the heck? Why isn't Eric higher? After all, in last year's Big Six video, he was rated as probably the weakest of the Big Six, and he ended up winning it all. And, well, yeah, part of that's on me. Again, last year, advanced stat analysis was new for Tetris, and a lot of these stats weren't really that important. And if I were to retroactively redo that video with the stats I have now, he'd be ranked a lot higher. He was actually 4th in fair median score last year, and in fair median post 29 score, something that was really important in the pre-Super Killscreen era, he ranked 1st. So if he just bumped up his consistency a little bit, he actually looked like a really strong candidate for the title. And that's basically exactly what he did CTWC weekend last year. But this year is different. Of course, now there's the Super Killscreen, but also Eric has said on the Piece Dependency podcast that he doesn't grind Classic Tetris much outside of playing in competition anymore. He's more focused on TGM, college, YouTube. I mean, he put up that incredible video of the NES Tetris World Record progression. So basically, he's not grinding day in and day out to be the favorite to defend his title. He's instead spreading himself out a bit more and doing a lot instead to move the community forward in a positive direction like Jonas would have wanted. But that's not to say he isn't dangerous. Again, all of the players on this list are incredibly good, the best of the best. So Eric is definitely still in the mix this year. You can never count out a world champ. But a lot of people have been asking me, all right, Scout, just give a prediction. Who's winning CTWC? And honestly, I just can't pick. All these players are too talented. But my gut feeling, again, not scientific, just my gut feeling is, all right, there's probably a 50% chance one of these players wins, an 85% chance one of these players wins, and a 99% chance someone in the entire group wins. I think these are the top players this year. But again, there's always the chance someone could come out of nowhere. Just one example is a fellow content creator, Cobalt. He almost never plays in comp, but he's a top roller now, and was incredibly impressive in his Masters event debut this year, coming within 1 game of the semis. I'm really looking forward to his live CTWC debut. And I have to give an honorable mention to Tommy NTG, Luis, Tristop, Gerald Freeman, Alan Bott, and Ella, the 6 best players by fair median score who just couldn't make the trip this year. Hope to see you guys all next year. If you want to tune in this weekend to see who's going to win, the CTWC schedule this year is essentially the same as last year. Friday and Saturday morning will be the qualifiers, and then Saturday and Sunday will be the brackets. But there's one exciting new feature this year, the Legends Tournament Saturday night, which features players who meet all of the 3 following requirements: over the age of 30, DAS play style only, and have participated in a CTWC event before 2019. It's going to be a chance to watch some of our favorite OG players from the early years duke it out versus each other just like the old days. And finally, Marfram and I are giving a talk Saturday morning right before the gold bracket starts, which is an expanded version of this video, doing live analysis of the qualifiers and brackets. So we hope you tune in. I know I'm definitely looking forward to everything that's going to happen this weekend, so I'll see you guys in the next video.